justice to seek. He says he's not going to prosecute on that case, which he could have. I believe that had he prosecuted that case, he may have lost. He's in the District of Columbia, a very left-leaning area, and it might have been seen as a political prosecution, not that serious, and so he let it go, and maybe he's looking to just kind of get a chit out there and say, hey, look, I could have prosecuted them for that, and I didn't. So for me, hope springs eternal. Whoever said that. Who said it? Good, you're a smart lady. So, or you got the same crystal ball I do, one or the other. If there is no prosecution for the corruption on the FISA court, I will march down Main Street, okay? And you know, or whatever street, Madison Avenue, I don't care. It is time. Look, what happened at the upper echelon of the FBI and the DOJ was corruption that you see in totalitarian and third world countries. There was an arrogance, there was a condescension, there was this feeling that we, the smelly Walmart people, we, the deplorables, shouldn't have the ability to decide who is president. Well, who the hell are you, Jim Comey? And I knew Jim Comey, and I may have said this last year when I was here. He was the U.S. Attorney when I was a sitting DA. I was the elected DA. He was the appointed U.S. Attorney. Our offices, our buildings were right next to each other. We worked investigations, some together. He is an incredibly bright guy. He knew everything that he was doing. So for me, and I talk about this in the book, the question that I have, because dead to right on that one, you present evidence to a FISA court, and when I was a judge, if you give me evidence upon which I infringe on someone's Fourth Amendment rights in order to seize information, then you're in big trouble with me. So I have a bunch of questions. Number one, why did you do it? There was no reason to put that dossier, which was funded by an opposing candidate in a presidential race, with money that was laundered through Fusion GPS and Perkins Coie, a law firm, then used to hire a foreign agent to get information from the Russians, which in the end was all a lie and unverified. I mean, that Donald Trump wanted to pee on people. You know what it was? He wanted to pee. Give me a break. And therefore, because he wanted to pee on people, the Russians owned him. I mean, even I couldn't get through that. So, and I've seen crazy shit in 30 years. Okay, so this guy presents it to a judge. Who is that judge? Why didn't that judge ask a question? Why didn't that judge get the information? Why doesn't John Roberts, who is the Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice, why isn't he beginning an investigation? What did she know, and was she a part of it? Now, I know what I think because I don't believe in coincidence. Right. But let me tell you this. When we put everything together, do you remember the Strzok and the Page text messages? Yes. POTUS wants to be advised of everything we're doing. Right. Okay? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And a counterintelligence investigation, the president has to be notified. Right. This all was acceded to by the White House. They had to know what was going on.
They did know.
Now, what we don't have are the emails and the text messages from from Brennan and Clapper. Brennan, if you read my other book, I think I called him the #1 deep swamper, swamp scum, I think I called him. Okay, Brennan, and I've got a chapter in the new book called Rats Jumping Ship, where Brennan is pointing at Comey, Comey is pointing at Brennan. McCabe is pointing at Comey and vice versa. The rats are jumping ship. But with this counterintelligence investigation, and with clueless Clapper, I call him, who is lying every chance the guy opens his mouth, calling the president treasonous, or was that Brennan? It may have been Brennan. There is no way they didn't know what was going on here. And if this goes on without some sanction,
Country's finished.
then we're in big trouble.
We are.
Big trouble.
We are in very big trouble. Now, I was watching the news today, and I saw that McCabe is going to start fundraising with candidates. He is trying to promote himself
My
as a
God.
guy who's just a regular guy to make sure the jury pool thinks he's a great guy and Donald Trump is this horrible person who is persecuting him. As if anybody cared who McCabe was in the first place. But make no mistake, if there is no prosecution for what happened on the defrauding of that FISA court, then you know there was a fix-in. And by the way, there was also another text message where I think it was Strzok and Page again, where they talked about, let's have a dinner party with the judge as a cover so we could discuss the order. Come on, guys. Nobody's really piecing it together. And the problem is, in the news, we only have so many minutes to give it to you. You literally need a book to write it.
Yeah.
So,
Is the
that,
FISA judge in Obama appointed?
yep,
Oh.
yep. So, let's just hope that things turn around. But, one more? All right, they tell me one more. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Judge. Great job, chapter 12. I pre-read it. Socialism. I always support whenever you champion free markets over socialism.
Yeah.
I think we have a great challenge and opportunity in the fact that, look, I'm in a high-tech space. I deal with many venture capitalists and entrepreneurs. They're actually funding Democratic candidates.
It's crazy.
It's hard to believe that they're supporting a political class that is against their own interests.
Cutting their own necks.
Can you imagine if Elizabeth Warren becomes president and tells an AI company, well, you can't do this? I mean, innovation is going to be stopped. What sort of strategies can we do to be more effective? I do my part when I talk to these people. I don't talk too much politics, I talk about economics and about free markets and what they can do, trying to get these guys not to contribute to Democrats.
Well, look, I mean, you know, there are a lot of issues with Democrats, you know, and I don't quite understand, you know, what I can say that would change your opinion on that. I mean, the truth is, the socialists are going to give money to the Democrats, and the Democrats are going to take it. They're going to take whatever money they can get. Will they be beholden? You know what? 2.5 years ago, just like I said, Bernie Sanders, everybody went, oh, socialism, now everybody's down the road. I wouldn't be surprised if they think that it benefits them or that the public is supporting it. A politician is like a chameleon. I mean, they'll just change to any color they need to.
They do.
You know, think about the illegals. We had Barack Obama, we had Bill Clinton, we had everybody saying we got to have a border,
Yeah.
we can't let them in. And a few years later, they're like, let them in. They're actually bringing them into Congress for the State of the Union address. You know, politicians by their nature will just change depending upon, you know, which way the wind is blowing. So I don't know that there's any explaining to do, but I know that there's one thing that we've got to do, and that is we have to win elections. We've got to fight against all of the money that's coming in, whether it's Soros related, I don't know where it's coming from, but make no mistake, if this election in 2020 doesn't go our way,
We're dead.
then everything that Donald Trump did will turn around and be over.
And
Yeah, they're leaving Congress, I agree, and that's a problem. I don't know what we're going to do. How about you run? Thank you. God bless you. I'm going to sign